I'm going to do another cook and chat this week. I've gone out to my garden. I've collected what I could, so I'm trying to figure out what to make with it. So of course, I put a post in there. I was asking for any comments or anything. I didn't see anything as of when I was preparing for this. So I went to Google and I said, here's the ingredients I have. So what it suggested was warm beans and green sauté. So I'll be making that, and then a quick broccoli stir fry. So I'm going to take the ingredients that I harvested from my garden today, and we'll see what we can make of it. We have a big storm kind of coming into the area. I can hear it outside. So I'm going to go ahead and move the camera a little bit closer here. All right, so this is what I got from the garden today. Went ahead and cleaned this up, got it into the fridge so it would stay fresh for me here. And let's see what we got. So I got it. Let's see, a little bit of collards, which I've cooked collards on the channel a few times. We've got some mustard greens. I've got some mustard greens that are looking really good, so I was wanting to try to make something with those. Or at least that's what it's identifying it as. And then I've got lots more kale. So I've done the kale smoothie. I've done kale a couple of other ways. So yeah, I've got lots of kale. So I'm going to make some more. And then the other ingredient, since I'm doing the broccoli stir fry, is one of my broccolis was ready. So I got that from my garden today. So I'm going to figure out how to cook it. This is only the second broccoli that I've gotten from my garden. So this should be fun. Really enjoy broccoli. That's always been one of our go-to things. Broccoli and green beans. That's, you know, we raised our kids so they would eat that. And then I've got some lettuce. I had that in my list of things that I could use as ingredients, but I ended up not going with that one as an ingredient for the recipes tonight. But I do have some lettuce from my garden, which is very nice. They're actually growing really strange. It's almost like a Christmas tree, the way it's growing really tall. And then I was able to get a few green beans. It's still kind of early for my green beans, so I'm going to have to supplement that with a can of green beans. But, you know, I got these green beans from my garden today, so I'm actually growing a few green beans. So I'm going to use those in the recipe. Got a few little odd strawberries. It's not producing as much. It's been really hot lately. And then I got a few cherry tomatoes. So the garden's starting to produce. Not enough to have those as really part of the cooking chat, but I'm starting to get a few things from the garden. So a little peek at things I might be able to make someday. All right, so let's see what we got here. I'm going to start with the warm bean and green sauté. So the prep is, we're going to prepare these green beans, my huge supply of green beans. I'm going to supplement that with a can of green beans because, you know, I'm a guy and I can get away with that. All right, so let's go ahead and cut our green beans and prep those. So, yeah, 4th of July weekend. It's been a really hot one here. I am near Baltimore, Maryland, and it's just been crazy hot. Our feels like it's been like 114. I went out to the garden today. I was trying to, well, I don't know if you watch the channel, I've got some potato towers. It's like an Amish potato tower I'm doing. It's kind of my take on that. And they're at the point where they need another layer of compost and straw. So I was out there braving the crazy heat to add some compost and straw, and yeah, they look amazing. I posted a picture where I was announcing this live stream and included kind of how they look today, and that was before I added the layer. So now it's, you know, it's really nice all the way up. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up, they're growing so fast that I think it's going to be at the top of it before the end of the season, and I'm just going to have to let it grow. And just, you know, hope that it's actually producing potatoes all the way down. I think it is. I mean, everything that I've read about it, it seems like it's doing what it's supposed to. When you add that extra layer of compost and straw, it starts producing stolons at that level, and then those will turn into potatoes. So I'm really hoping that that Amish potato tower produces a lot of potatoes this year. So let's see what we've got here. Yeah, that's more of my lettuce. That'll be for another recipe some other time. Let me grab my compost bin here. Start putting the little clippings into that. I'm doing compost bins, so everything I cut that's, kitchen waste is going into those, either for the ones outside or for the worms. Oh yeah, speaking of my worms, and before I start actually cooking food, let me show you this. This is my first worm tea that I've made for my vermiculture. I've been doing the Worm Factory 360. I've got the red wiggler worms, and yeah, I've got some worm tea that I made from that. And then to feed the worms, this is some worm food that I made. So this was some cucumbers, some apples, and then part of where the color is coming from is I added in some coffee grounds. So I think this will be really good food for my worms. I hope so. But yeah, sorry for the tangent, and I lost a few viewers talking about worm food during a cooking chat. But yeah, so that's part of the channel, not necessarily part of the cooking chat. I'm not doing worms this meal, but I did read you can make cookies and stuff with worms, so I'm not ruling it out someday. All right, so we're gonna wait on the broccoli. Let's go ahead and prep our kale and collards and get those ready. I think I'll just set that there for now. All right, let's get some kale. And I just had a little bit of collards that I cut. And yeah, I got a lot of kale. I think this is going to be kind of heavy in the kale department. And then, yeah, that's my mustard greens. So I've got kale, collards, and mustard greens that are going into the recipe tonight. Hi there. I always appreciate having viewers for these. So it's nice to know where people are from. If you don't mind putting that in chat, that'd be fun to know where my viewers are from. Yeah, and when I posted about doing this today, I was at 149 subscribers, and then I hit 150 before the live stream started. So that's fantastic. That's like a huge milestone for me to hit 150 subscribers. What I'm doing with these is I'm just getting rid of the stem in the center, and then slicing it up into kind of bite-sized pieces. And those I'm just putting into a bowl, and we'll prepare all of that. Let's see. All right. Yeah, so if you're new to the channel, I'm planning to be a farmer in about 3 years. I've worked cybersecurity my whole career, so no farmer skills. So I started this channel to kind of document me learning those farmer skills. And then if I'm going to be making all this food, I need to figure out how to cook it. So I thought, for a channel like this, the best live stream I could do would be taking the things I've grown in my garden and figuring out how to cook it and just sharing that with everybody. So that's the collards that I got from the garden today. Now I'm going to do the kale. So same kind of thing, just kind of cutting along the stem. That's going in my compost bin, kind of folding over the two halves, and just kind of slicing it into bite-sized pieces. And we're just going to see how much this makes. I'm not really following a recipe so much. I've kind of done this a couple of times now. It's still kind of new, and I've done it a little bit different every time I've made it. But yeah, just going through, cutting the stems out. Let's see. Yeah, just kind of having some fun, learning some more YouTube skills, doing live streams, and just using that as extra content on the channel. Kind of sharing my journey of learning skills and having fun doing it. Part of that is the skills of running a YouTube channel, which, yeah, it's so confusing. I can't make any sense out of the algorithm. It's like this mystical thing that as soon as you think you understand part of it, it changes. So, yeah, one of the videos that I did this past week was a Sunny Dew recipe where I combine, here, I've got some right here. I combine Sunny D and Mountain Dew. This is kind of my go-to drink, and I just called it Sunny Dew. That short has gotten over 1,000 views. I don't know why that one is getting the views, but it is, and I'm happy about it. But yeah, it's, you can put hours and hours of work into a video, and it does okay, or nobody ever watches it. And then you can make something that's pretty quick, or like that one was just a clip I cut from one of these cooking chats. And yeah, that's getting views. So yeah, I'll figure it out someday. But still having fun with it no matter what. The other big video on the channel this week, which I put many hours into, was my first year of gardening. So had a couple of deaths in the family last year. Kind of made me kind of rethink some things, and we were talking about moving to South Carolina, and it's going to give me an opportunity to become a farmer. So I started a garden last year. I had a couple of raised beds that I'd done with my daughter. Those went, pretty good. We got some really big zucchinis out of it, some tomatoes and beans and stuff like that. But then, pandemic ended. She lost interest, was in high school. And so we kind of stopped doing the gardening. So I had a couple of, it was 5 raised beds. They were like 4 by 4 foot. So it was like a 20 by 4 foot raised bed kind of section along the fence line. So that's what I started with last year. And then I added a garden fence. And then I added raised beds. Well, no, I added grow bags. I added some planters that had trellises down on the end of the garden. And so I was able to grow some flowers down there, like vining kind of things, clematis and stuff like that. Some morning glories that I got from, I had gotten a plot at a community garden at work. I was lucky, and there was a community garden there where, I got to talk to other people about gardening and learning from them. So that was a really good opportunity. I love that experience. I hated when I had to leave that job. And right now I'm working remotely, which is very nice for being able to do a YouTube channel. Frees up a lot of time instead of commuting, because that commute for that job was at best an hour and 15 minutes. At worst, I had some over 4-hour commutes. So I regularly plan for it to be about an hour 45 each way. So working remotely now gives me about 3.5 hours back in my day. I switched to doing 4/10s. So I still had, the weekends. So that's when I focused on the gardening. I put some lights in the garden so that I could see and I could actually do some gardening when I got home from work. But yeah, that only went so far. You can't do everything in a garden after dark. So most of the gardening last year was on the weekends. But I would get out there and I would share. I'd take pictures of what I'd grown. Had a couple of text chats with family and coworkers that had gardens, stuff like that. So I'd share the pictures, the harvests, how the plants were growing. I had some gnomes that we had painted, and so had those out in the garden, and I would move those around and take pictures of the gnomes in different places. So had a lot of fun with the gardening. But I couldn't really, every time I would do the text chat, if somebody else wanted to join it, I felt like I lost all the history to it. So I was taking a lot of pictures last year. And then in January, I decided to start this YouTube channel. It was part of my New Year's resolutions, just to kind of start building the skills that I will need to become a farmer in 3 years. So I figured I would document that with a YouTube channel. And so part of that is I had to make a video of my first year of gardening to kind of catch everybody up. All I had was a lot of pictures. So then it was trying to figure out how to turn all those pictures into a decent video. So I had to learn a lot of video editing skills. Had to do voiceovers, which for some reason that was more difficult for me to do the voiceovers than doing this like live chat where I'm just talking, because I feel like I'm talking to somebody when I'm doing these. I feel like, there's somebody on the other end of the camera. I'm having fun doing this. Recently I've started my personal channel. I turned into a gaming channel, Ferrex Gaming, and my daughter wanted to play some Minecraft together. So we did that for a little bit, and I had watched a Minecraft video because, once you start playing Minecraft, you look up things to try to learn it. So the YouTube feed started sending me a lot of Minecraft videos. And there was a guy that he just had immediate great success with his channel. He was doing like midlife Minecraft, I think was the name. It was something alliterative like that. And I mean, his stuff went to the feed right away, and his channel blew up. So it's like, yeah, if he can do that, I can do that. He's only 40, I'm 52. Yeah, I can do, some Minecraft videos. I'll have fun with that. So then on my, my other channel, my gaming channel, I had to figure out how to use OBS. I had to figure out, how to do a live stream with overlays on the screen instead of just standing here in my kitchen cutting things and, cooking it while people are popping in and out in chat. So it's been an adventure. So the last 2 weeks I've been doing that. Yeah, one of the things I learned with that is there's an age verification process when you try to do a broadcast from the PlayStations now. Wasn't aware of that, so I guess Google, YouTube, PlayStation, somebody couldn't verify that I wasn't under 16. Even though I'm 52, they had to assume that I was under 16. So I got a policy violation, so I was restricted from live streaming. I don't know. It was kind of a practice video, so I went ahead and deleted it since I couldn't use it. But apparently that was the worst thing to do, because once you delete it, you can't refute it. You can't do the policy training kind of stuff. So now I'm not sure. It's not in my dashboard. There's not a notification. There's not a, you've been restricted for this number of days. So I just keep tracking, every day, going back to it. It's been over a week, so I'm hoping I get to live stream again. But at least I didn't mess up things here, and I'm still allowed to live stream my cooking chats. So the Minecraft stuff I've started recording, which I think that's worse because now it's harder for me to stop playing. So I've had a lot of really late nights, like 5-hour recordings of me playing some Minecraft and having a blast with it, loving every minute of it. But yeah, not the best for my sleep schedule. But before I started doing all the gardening and everything, that's pretty much what I did. I would pretty much every evening I would be playing games, mostly PlayStation. I kind of switched to console when I didn't really have a good computer to play the games. And then, yeah, I started doing the gardening and the YouTube and didn't really have much free time. So it gives me a chance to, enjoy that hobby as well. So I get to play some video games and have fun and kind of share that and learn some YouTube skills. So I don't have the guilt of, I'm not doing my YouTube on my main channel. I'm, learning skills that I can use on my main channel. So since I'm doing this pretty much just for me tonight, this is what I've got with the, I've got mustard greens, kale, and collards. So I think I'm going to go with that for now. I'll save the rest of this for another meal. I'm going to add in the green beans that I cut up from my garden. And I'm going to supplement that a little bit with some green beans from a can, just because I didn't have quite enough from the garden. And since I've got green beans in both recipes, I'm going to go ahead and split that between the two. All right, let's go ahead and get some heat going here. I'm going to start with some olive oil and some garlic. I'm going to let that go into the pan. Let that heat up just a little bit. Grab a spatula real quick. Yeah, this is all just me trying to figure things out. I am not an expert at any of this. I'm just having fun. Family's giving me the freedom to do this. Yeah. So, all right. So my instructions from Google are, if I'm going to make a warm bean and green saute, I already got all my greens ready and my green beans. So now we're going to saute some garlic and olive oil, and then we'll add in all the greens. So let me grab a spoon. Yeah, I'm just going to use garlic from the fridge instead of from the garden. My garlic isn't quite ready either, but I've got some out there. I'm trying to do as much of this as I can straight from the garden, but yeah, it's hard to do that when things are seasonal. I'm getting a few things from the garden, but I don't have all the ingredients most of the time for a recipe. So, but this is just a chance for me to learn new things and share it with anybody who wants to watch. So I appreciate anybody that's popping in and out of the chat while I'm doing this. All right, there we go. That's heating up. I see some sizzle in the pan. All right, we'll give that a little bit, let it finish up. All right, so I got a little bit of chat there, but it's not very active yet, so I can't respond back to the chat, so I'm just going to ramble on. That's generally the way these go. Sometimes I'll get somebody that's talkative, and I'll be able to interact with somebody during these, which I really enjoy. That's my favorite times I'm doing this, is when I get to interact with folks. I think that's what I'm really missing with the Minecraft stuff at the moment, is I'm recording them, which works, but I'm not getting that interaction. Go ahead and tilt this down a little bit, let you see more of the pan. All right, so garlic's heating up, and we'll start adding our greens in just a little bit. All right, so this is what I've got that's going in there. It's my cut up collards, kale, and mustard greens. Keep wanting to add in honey for my mustard greens. All right, so I think this is looking pretty good. We'll give that just a little bit more. That's not quite to the level where I can smell the garlic going. Yeah, that's the downside when you're watching these things. You don't get to smell all the stuff that people are cooking. All right. And we're just going to add in all of our greens and beans. I think this will be pretty good. I've had collards and I've had kale cooked this way. I haven't tried cooking in any of the honey mustard, or I keep getting with honey mustard greens. So that's going to be the new thing I'm trying with this for me. But yeah, this will just it'll kind of simmer in the pan here, and all the greens will kind of wilt down, and it'll turn into a nice meal. I think the green beans is going to be a nice extra taste and texture to it. I'm thinking I'll probably just eat this over some rice once I'm done with the cooking chat. So yeah, I'm just mixing that all in there. It's going to let that keep simmering away, and we'll start prepping our next dish. All right, so that's the warm beans and greens saute. Yeah, if you're joining now, I pulled things out of my garden today. It's been crazy hot. It feels like it's been like 114 for the last week. So yeah, it was difficult going out there to harvest stuff. It was just dripping in sweat. But what I was able to harvest, I put that list into Google and said, hey, I'm doing a live stream where I'm doing a cooking chat. What would you suggest I make with these things? So one was the warm beans and greens saute, and the second one is a quick broccoli stir fry, which sounds really good to me. So this one is use the broccoli florets alongside your beans for a simple, healthy side dish. So this is going to be the meal, and then the side will be the broccoli stir fry. Kind of sounds like it would just be two entrees and not a side to me, but yeah. So the prep is chop your broccoli into bite-sized florets and trim your green beans. I've already used the green beans from my garden, so I'm using extra from a can. Eventually my garden will keep up with doing all the cooking chats. And then the cook is just toss it into a hot skillet with a splash of water, soy sauce, and garlic. Cover briefly to steam, then remove the lid to let it char. So sounds like it's just prep the broccoli, put it in a pan, and we're good. Seems pretty simple to me. Until I knock the camera off. All right, there we go. So we got another pan here. Wow, yeah, learning YouTube skills. How to get your pans to where you can show them on camera and not knock your camera off onto the floor. All right, there we go. Scoot it a little bit further back. All right, now we got it. We got both pans on the screen. All right, now we're cooking. Well, I guess we've been cooking the whole time, but you know what I mean. All right, so let's go ahead and give that a little mix right there before I start focusing on the broccoli. Yeah, see, I got a few people watching. Yeah, let me know where you're watching from. I've had people viewing from New Zealand and Russia and Texas, all over the world. So yeah, I'm near Baltimore, Maryland. So it's fascinating to me just where everybody's watching from when I do these. All right, so instead of starting to cut, I'm just going to go ahead and break it up, and then I'll cut the florets off. That seems to be the easy way, right? But yeah, this is only my second like head of broccoli that I've gotten from my garden. So I'm really looking forward to eating this in a meal. The first one I just did, just like a quick meal for me, just use this and just did it in some rice. And it was just a nice little small meal because it's not producing enough for the whole family, which is probably good because the family's not really eating the things that I'm cooking just yet. Now, when I did the pumpkin pies and the apple pies and the fun stuff like that, they would join in with the meals. But most of my cooking, they're kind of just letting me learn some skills before they start eating my food. Watching from New Jersey. Awesome. Appreciate you putting that in chat. All right, so yeah, one of the things when you have these is there's all these leaves at the bottom of the head. So I'm just going to pull those out, add those to my compost. All right, and then I had another little bowl here I was going to use just to put the ingredients in. All right, so I'm just going to cut the florets off of the broccoli, and we'll put those in the bowl, get that prep. Yeah, when I was trying to figure out what I was going to cook, I was hoping somebody would give me some comments, but I had to default to just, kind of asking Google. And I think it came up with some pretty good ideas. You never know. And a lot of the times when I've been doing the research before I'll make a meal for these, the ideas that I get are not necessarily accurate. It's AI generating stuff, so it'll take bits from here, bits from there, combine it in a way that makes sense to an AI, but when you go to make it, it doesn't quite work out the same way. So kind of mixed success with that. And, I don't really have the cooking skills yet, so it's kind of, figuring it out as I go. So far, I've enjoyed all my meals, even the kale smoothie. I was really surprised how much I like the kale smoothie. So that extra kale I've got from the garden, that's going to be kale smoothies later. Let's see, I've got a bunch of stuff growing in the garden this year that I haven't grown before. I've got loofah, and I didn't realize that loofah was actually something that people eat. I thought it was just something you scrub yourself with in the bathroom. But apparently when it's smaller, like a cucumber size, pickle size, about that big, they're a really good edible vegetable. So I've got those growing in the garden. I put up some trellises at the end of the garden. In my post that I did today, you can see that, and they're really starting to grow. I wasn't sure if they would or not. I just planted them in a cardboard box. Just went to Lowe's and got like a heavy-duty cardboard box as the planter. I done that last year growing some potatoes, and it held up for one season, so I figured that would do. Put up some trellises at the end of the garden, like I said, and they finally are at the point where they are just vining up. I had put some grapevines in between the tater towers, my epic tater towers, and the grapevines were taken off, but the loofah, and I had some long beans. So yeah, I don't have the green beans now, but I've got some long beans growing. So these are like, 1.5 2 foot long green beans. They kind of grow and they'll vine up a trellis. There was somebody that had grown those at the office garden last year, and I got a few from their plot, kept the seeds, and I used those to plant some long beans in my garden this year. So I think it's really cool that my long beans came from somebody that had planted it in that community garden last year. That still just fascinates me, the whole idea of, kind of getting a sample of something somebody else grew and then growing it the next year in your garden. So I saved a lot of seeds last year and just trying to plant as many of those things as I can. I've got a lot of sunflowers in the garden and tried a lot of different varieties last year. That was kind of one of the things in that community garden is somebody had somebody that was close to them, so everybody in memory of them, they'll plant sunflowers. And I just thought that was really nice. So I think that's probably something that I will continue. Plus, I know my sister loves sunflowers, and she won't mind if I'm growing a lot of sunflowers on the property once we move to South Carolina. All right, so our greens and beans is looking pretty good here. Smelling even better. That smells amazing. So I think we need to go ahead and get our next meal in a pan. So let me go ahead and light the next one. Looking good. Make sure the burner's on. All right, so we got our broccoli florets all chopped up. Next, we need to toss it in the hot skillet with a splash of water, soy sauce, and garlic. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of water. There we go. Sorry, I had to step off camera for a sec. And actually, I got a little bit of water in the beans too. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of that can of beans into there. And we will add a little bit of water into the pan so we can see it sizzling. Very nice. All right. Yeah, I had to kind of cheat with the soy sauce. Like I said, I went to Google kind of last minute this afternoon to figure out what I could make from what I harvested. And I didn't have any soy sauce in the house other than we had some packets from some Chinese food that we had ordered. So to make it look more professional, I put it into a cup so you're not watching me squeeze packets of soy sauce. So that's going to go in the pan. That's going to give us the nice stir fry, I hope. All right. Oh, and I need to do a little bit more garlic in there. Let me add a little bit of garlic too. Grab my spoon. Yeah, you can see I'm not a professional cook. I'm learning all this as I go. And just, we'll see if it tastes good at the end. So, yeah, pretty much anybody can garden, anybody can cook. Kind of like Ratatouille, you know? So, I don't have the skills to, like, feel comfortable serving food to other people, but, you know, I'm cooking for myself at this point. So, I can cook foods that I think I will like. I get to try all the stuff that I produce in my garden. And I get some really good meals out of it. And hopefully some engagement here with people that want to watch me learn to cook. Or, you know, maybe get ideas or the confidence that if I can cook, you can cook. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of that element to my content. Yeah, I was doing some like New Year's resolutions. I mentioned the YouTube channel was one of my New Year's resolutions. Earlier, before it was, you know, springtime and I could do things in the garden, I was learning to throw axes and knives, and that taught me a lot of filming things. So if you look back at the earlier stuff on my content from around January, February, I was doing axe throwing and knife throwing. It's just something I've always wanted to do. I want to do archery, and I figured I don't really have the yard to do archery, but I can build a target and do that in my garage. I can throw axes and knives at a target. Problem is, recently my daughter is home, and she's going back for her sophomore year of college at the end of the month, and so we started getting furniture and things for her apartment. So my garage is now full of all of that, so I can't throw axes and knives without potentially damaging the furniture we're getting for her. So I've kind of had to put that skills development on hold. But it's totally fine because I've been doing other things. I've been doing the Minecraft series on my gaming channel. I've been doing a lot of gardening. I've been doing the potato towers. I've been doing the vermiculture. I was really wanting to raise rabbits. I've mentioned that on my channel so many times, but I really was hoping to raise rabbits this year. I think that'll be the next animal that I can do. So I'm doing the worms, but that's not really like livestock. So I was thinking either quail or rabbits. So I did the research. I think I know what I need. I just need to actually take that step and, you know, commit to it. Now let's go ahead and add our broccoli and our green beans into the pan. Give that a little stir. And basically we're just using that water and the soy sauce and the garlic. And we're gonna heat that up. Actually, I'm gonna add some more water. That just doesn't seem like enough water. Kind of want that to steam in there. All right, back on camera. Yeah, so with getting Google recipes, it wasn't specific as to how much of the ingredients I need. So I'm kind of guessing as I go. So we will see how this turns out. But, you know, how bad can it be? Fresh vegetables from the garden and, you know, supplemented with stuff from a can. Soy sauce is from a packet because I didn't have a bottle of soy sauce. All right, well, the greens and beans are looking amazing. Yeah, these are looking delicious. I can see the garlic in there and just, oh, that looks so good with the green of all the greens. I haven't tried greens with beans. Last year I did try making collard greens, and I added in some potatoes. I had my first batch of potatoes. I had a little bit of extra, and there were some small ones in there. So I cut some up and that was really good. It ended up I didn't have like bacon or ham hock or something like that to go with it, so I used like a beef bouillon cube. Not the best choice. It was very salty, but since I had added in the potatoes, what I ended up doing was I had some hamburger meat, so I put the results of my first attempt at collards over the meat, and then ate that over a bun like as a sandwich, and it was delicious. It ended up actually all balancing out. So, I think that's the beauty of cooking when you don't really know how to cook, is you just get creative. You think, hey, I'm going to try this and that, and we'll see if they taste good together. So, oh, that smells so good. And I hope you can hear the sizzling. I mean, just the sound of this sounds amazing. All right, so let's go ahead and check on our beans and our broccoli here. That's looking really good. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a stir fry with all that soy sauce in there. I may have overdone it because it didn't tell me how much I needed, so I just started putting packets in until that little cup was full. But that looks really good. And let that heat up a little bit more, and then I'll cover it. All right, let's tidy up a little bit after myself here. Yeah, I didn't really plan for this to be a certain amount of time. It's just as long as it takes me to make the recipes that I'm trying. So, oh, looks like I've got a little bit of chat there. Husband was talking about raising rabbits just the other day. Yeah, I mentioned I keep asking people where they're from. I had one of my cooking chat live streams. The breed of rabbit that I'm wanting to raise is a New Zealand rabbit. Doesn't really have anything to do with New Zealand, but in the chat, somebody was actually from New Zealand, and I thought that was the coolest thing. I actually had somebody interacting with me from New Zealand. And then when I was I mentioned the Russian, so I shared, and I've got a short on my channel where I was taking Russian in college because I was hoping to be an astronaut. That was, like from 4th grade, I had a friend that put that idea in my head, and that's all I wanted to be when I grow up, So I went to Georgia Tech. I was majoring in aerospace engineering. I was on an Air Force scholarship. So I was taking the right steps. I was taking Russian because I figured International Space Station, I'm going to need to know some Russian just to converse. So then I found out I was colorblind, and that completely eliminates you from any kind of work in space because, the indicator lights, your engine's malfunctioning, it's about to blow up, it's a red-green kind of indicator, you can't tell the difference, bad things happen. So I get it, but I never knew I was red-green colorblind. I guess it's a subtle thing. It's not like you can't see colors, it's that, in the wrong situation, if I don't have context, I can't tell the difference between different shades of colors. And like the little eye test where there's like a 6 in this like page of dots. I don't necessarily see the 6. I mean, I have trouble distinguishing it like that when, like I said, when there's no context, it's just dots on a page. So, yeah, and I think it was really weird because one of my jobs when I was I just moved up to Maryland, I was in the Air Force. I was waiting on my clearance and stuff so that I could do my job. And so I was working part-time at a Walmart, just part-time job. I was just about to get married, so I need some extra money to pay for the honeymoon, stuff like that. But yeah, I was working the paint department in a Walmart, and I could tell the colors better than anybody that came in there. I think maybe because I was trying harder. I mean, most people, you look at all the different colors and, it's 1,000 shades of the same color. To me, it was like I was knowing the names. I was, getting the distinctions, like the different other colors that made that a distinct color, those types of things. So I don't know. It's funny how life will throw you those curves, and it's just, you've got to stay positive and handle the difficult situations as they come up. Like when I found out I was colorblind and I couldn't be an astronaut anymore, I had taken a few computer science classes. This was back in, I guess, 1993. Yeah, I'm 52, so yeah, college was a while ago now. But yeah, I guess it was about 1993. It was probably my sophomore year of college when I did the physicals and all the different stuff because they knew I was committed to, it was ROTC, so I was going to be an officer. So at that point, it was do the test, can't do an astronaut, had to pivot. So I decided we're going to go ahead and cut the heat down on this side. I think this one's about done. Yeah, I started talking. My greens and beans are pretty much done over here, so I'm just going to reduce the heat on that. All right, and let's go ahead and get the top on the other one. It's already getting steamy, so yeah, it's definitely getting steamy. There we go. Yeah, I haven't prepped the kitchen too much, so let me grab a plate real quick. Get a nice colorful plate to accent the greens and beans here. Alright, and we'll go ahead and turn off that heat. There we go. Alright, so our first dish. This is our warm beans and greens. It's a nice saute. I think it turned out pretty good. All right, now the great thing about doing this is I get to eat the food when I'm done. Let's grab us a fork. And that is going to be very hot right now. That is straight out of the pan. Mmm. Yeah, it's really good. It's a lot of different greens. So with the kale, and it's the first time I've done the mustard greens, so that's a very different taste to it. That's really good. And after doing the kale smoothie, and I did a cooking chat where I did kale chips, yeah, I can really taste the kale now because that's kind of a distinct flavor now since I've done the kale chips. This is delicious. Mmm. Yeah, I would definitely eat this again. All right, so yeah, if you're watching, this is just kale, mustard greens, and some collard greens. Have some green beans from the garden, so mix some of those in there, and to kind of balance it out, I had a add a little bit extra. Didn't have quite enough green beans this harvest from the garden, but yeah, all the greens were harvested from my garden earlier today. So, learning to cook things with the things I'm growing. Mmm. Yeah, that's really good. And I'll just pretend all the green beans in there came from my garden. I can't tell them apart. Mmm. Oh yeah, that kale is fantastic in there. I'm really becoming a fan of all kinds of greens. Yeah, I've shared my story with the collard greens. Wasn't really a fan of the, oh, look at the smoke. Very nice. So give that a little mix. Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned the deaths in the family, and I was in South Carolina for one of those. At this point, I'd already decided that I wanted to be a farmer, but I didn't know how. And it felt like this, crazy dream that, it's just a dream. I'm not actually going to do it, but it kept me positive through some tough times, I think. And so day after one of the funerals, my sister invited me to breakfast. She does some catering for Dupree Catering near Columbia, South Carolina. And so I actually met her for breakfast there. There's like a farmer's market kind of place where they do a lot of their cooking and stuff, and then they'll load up the trucks and do the catered events. They're right there where they're getting the food, straight from people bringing it to the farmer's market. So it's all, fresh right from farms and stuff. So really nice opportunity to kind of walk around and see that type of environment to get a feel for, my future if I become a farmer, when I become a farmer. So we're sitting there for breakfast, and Dupree comes up and they start talking about this event that they're going to be doing that's for this 100-year-old family farm. They produce collard greens, one of the biggest producers of collard greens in the world. So great conversation, and I'm just excited listening to them plan out catering this event. And then he invites me to, come along and help out. I get to go visit the farm and, see all the different stuff. So it's like, absolutely, that's just, out of the blue, amazing opportunity to go visit a 100-year-old farm. I couldn't say no to that. He was trying to pay me, but it's like, no, I'm happy to be here. So I helped my sister out. I get to spend time with her, get to visit this farm. and kind of build that farming dream. It was amazing. And then, yeah, just crazy opportunity. And that's kind of reinforced in me that I definitely want to become a farmer. So that's my Collards green story. I didn't know I like collard greens, and then that event, I'm going to love collard greens for life now, even if I'm the one cooking them, which I think I'm getting better. This is like third time I've made collards. I'm definitely getting better at it. This tastes really good. Or maybe it's the mix of the kale, the collards, and the mustard greens. It kind of gives you a variety of flavors. Yeah, sorry, I'm catching up with chat. Yeah, it was, because it's one of those things is like, you see the way you see your whole life. So you don't know that you're seeing different than somebody else until you get that colorblind test. And you can't see, like, the number 2. You can see the number 5 over here that shows that you have some, variation. You can see to that degree, but you can't see good enough to see the other number. And it's like, yeah, I can't see. And yeah, you had to pivot. The funny thing is, at the time, yeah, and this another story I don't think I've shared yet, but I had a friend in high school. I was first in my class. The guy who was first in class the year before me, he had taught to me, his family was doing like Amway business, which I know there's like a negative side of that and all kind of thing, but it gave me an opportunity to read a lot of self-help books and to be around positive influences, to see business, to get a chance to do that. So I had an Amway business at the time. It became Quick Star, and then I think it went away. I've done it on and off a little bit over the years, decades ago. But my company name, because I was running my own business, is because I had the whole colorblind kind of thing. Is I named my business Vision Enterprises. So vision became a really central thing to my life because of something that could have been a negative. I tried to make it a positive, and it's part of why I'm really happy to have green in my evergreen growth journey as well. I never had a favorite color until, I don't know, I guess maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know, I guess from doing spreadsheets where green was like a positive. And then I started noticing like more green as a positive influence in my life. So the evergreen from the evergreen growth is that's my favorite color now. It seems like a lot of stuff pivots around the color green in my life. So it's I wanted that to be part of my future enterprise that I'm doing with the farming. And I think it captures, I had watched a video when I was starting to learn how to do YouTube, and they were talking about the difference between an evergreen video and a viral video. So like everybody knows viral videos that, you put it out there, thousands, millions of people watch it, you become, celebrity overnight, and then it kind of goes away. It's not a sustained kind of thing. But evergreen videos is something that somebody's going to go back and watch year after year. I mean, if you want to watch a first-time person creating something with the ingredients they had in their garden, this content will be out there and you could watch it. My Sunny Dew recipe, if you want to learn how to make my weird little combination of Sunny D and Mountain Dew, that'll be out there on the internet. So, I mean, those types of things that it's not, a lot of people are going to watch it, but it might be watched over time. Happy we found you on YouTube channel. Yes, thank you. Yeah, definitely appreciate all the interaction when I do these live streams. That's what makes me want to do these. All right, let's see. This is looking pretty good. Oh, it's smelling amazing. Yeah, that's the big thing with this channel is just this gives me an opportunity to share my journey of learning skills, trying to figure out how to become a farmer. Like I said, I've worked in cybersecurity my whole career, so I've avoided social media. I know you're vulnerable, you're putting a lot of personal information out there, and I pretty much avoided it. I mean, it all kind of, while I've been working the career path that I've been on with the cybersecurity, it didn't make sense to do that. But now that I'm looking to retire in less than 900 days, fortunately, the career I've taken has paid well enough that I've gotten a lot of retirement savings that the plan is, and we've talked to financial advisors, I should be able to retire at 55. Now that's, retired. I'm still going to have supplemental income. I'm only going to be able to withdraw so much from the retirement savings. And if I was planning to stay in the Baltimore area, there's no way I could do it. But with my farmer plans, I'm looking to move to rural South Carolina, you know, much cheaper cost of living. So where here, you know, very expensive. I'm going to be moving to somewhere where I can live on, you know, a quarter of what what things cost here. So, and also with the farming, I'm going to be producing a lot of the stuff that I eat and that type of thing. So it's going to be where I'm producing what I need. So it's going to cost me less, and I'm going to be selling the excess. So it's actually going to be profit from that. So I'm very happy with the path I'm trying to take. It's just a lot of unknowns, but I keep running into these little coincidental things that make me feel like I'm on the right path. I don't know if you've had that in your life where, you know, you feel like you've made a decision or you're putting off a decision, and you kind of get that little serendipity kind of moment that things align, and it's like a clue that, yeah, I'm on the right path, or maybe I'm not on the right path. Maybe I need to, you know, take a quick left turn. But yeah, those types of things have been happening since I decided to become a farmer. Just things have been aligning, and it's just, I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just not sure how to do what I'm trying to do. So I'm learning all those skills with everybody online now. During my experience on Earth is if we document our journey, our family and friends can learn 1,000 plus years from now. Thanks for sharing your experiences. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. I really appreciate that. And that's kind of my same thinking is I'm documenting this for me, even if nobody else watches it. But, you know, my kids are out of high school. They're in college age kids now. So it won't be too long where I may be a grandpa. And I'm old enough now. I'm over 50. I'm 52 now. So I'm thinking leaving that legacy behind. So with the farming business, it's actually, I've established an LLC for Evergreen Growth Journey. So that's going to be my agriculture business name, as well as my YouTube channel. And the beauty of an LLC is it's actually a willable business entity. So I'm setting up a legacy that I can pass to family. And this YouTube channel is documenting the first steps on that path. So that feeling is amazing. It really is. I'm like, wow, I'm getting tingles talking about it right now. But yeah, I feel like I'm on the right path. Those kind of things, the feeling of what I'm doing feels like this is right. And yeah, thank you so much for that comment. That means the world to me. All right, so our broccoli and beans is looking pretty good here. I think I may have added a little bit too much in there, kind of letting it burn off a little bit. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm kind of going to modify that Google recipe that it gave me. And I'm going to go ahead and heat up some rice to put that over. So I'm going to step away for just a second. Be right back. Yeah, I still got the mic, so you can hear me banging the cabinet over there. Yeah, this is, I love these like instant rice. This is the Ben's Original Ready Rice. Jasmine's my favorite. A lot of the stuff I've been doing in the garden, this is kind of my go-to if I'm making a little meal for me and I don't have that much. You just kind of knead the packet a little bit, so you kind of break it up. Yeah, I have to add this to my description. I've got an Amazon affiliate link, so anytime I've been using anything, I've been trying to throw it in there. Because yeah, I've been doing this channel for about 6 months now, and I haven't made my first penny yet. So this is not something I'm doing to get rich overnight. This is something I'm taking baby steps and building it over time. But yeah, until I get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, you can't monetize through AdSense, but you can do affiliate links. So I'll put the affiliate link in the description, or I don't know if it may be in there. I don't know if it is or not. I don't think I've added that yet. But if you go to Amazon and you buy anything there, not even the stuff that I have linked, for the next 24 hours, Amazon will send me a percentage of what you purchased. It doesn't come out of your pocket. It's just, you know, part of their marketing department's money. And I think that is so cool. Still haven't gotten any money from it, but you know, there's things like that I think over time I can build on that. And I think I can at least pay for the expenses of running a YouTube channel. You know, there's subscriptions and all kind of stuff to be able to use all the tools to do all this. and just purchasing. I'm using my phone as my camera. That's the reason why we're in portrait mode, because it kind of works out, and it makes it easy to do clips of it later. But yeah, I'm going to add this to the microwave. Sorry, tangents. And that's 90 seconds. All right, and I've got all these greens and beans over here getting cool. That is so good. Yum. Yeah, that's one of the things is, yeah, right now I'm learning to cook. So none of this is amazing food. So yeah, I'm not an expert. Oh, and I lost 2 subscribers just saying that. Or not subscribers, but viewers. That's funny. So this is a chance for me to learn to cook and share that experience. And, you know, let you know that if I can do this, you can do this. Because this is delicious. Wow. All right, so I've got the rice going. Oh yeah, look at all that steam. That is looking good. It smells amazing. I guess the soy sauce is kind of the main part of the smell, but you can definitely smell the broccoli in there and the beans. Yeah, I've really noticed, it may just be in my head, but being out in the garden, there's a lot of smells that you just kind of missed, you know, like being around the tomato plants in my garden. There's a smell that comes off of that just, you don't get that from going to the grocery store and, you know, picking it out of the aisle there. You know, it's being there in the garden and, you know, giving that tomato the twist, pulling it off the vine, and then eating that later. That tomato is going to taste so much better than anything you could buy. And so, yeah, I'm loving that side of gardening. All right, our rice is done. Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place with the chat. Sorry, it's one of those things I'm learning too with the live streaming is if I'm trying to do a cooking chat, it's trying to figure out the ingredients, the cutting, trying not to burn the stuff because I've started sharing a story and forgot I was cooking, which I almost did here, but that kind of works in its favor because it's slightly charred. The greens taste really good. But yeah, trying to do the camera and just all of it all at once. Trying to read the chat. This hasn't been a very active chat, but yeah, I definitely appreciate every chat in there. And I've responded to every comment for all of my videos so far. So, you know, if you like the content and you watch other stuff, yeah, leave me a comment. Let me know which videos you've been watching, you know, what you enjoyed, you know, and, you know, constructive criticism, things I could do better. I know I'm making a lot of mistakes. That's, again, part of this channel is I know I'm making a lot of mistakes. So I'm not hiding that. I'm sharing that with everybody who wants to watch. And so hopefully, woo, that's a lot of steam. So hopefully you can avoid the same mistakes. Yeah, my sister keep reminding me, and we started a podcast, which I love my sister, that she supported me so much that we do a podcast every other Sunday, and that goes out on my channel on Wednesdays. So I'm kind of alternating between the cooking chats and the podcast with my sister. But she keeps telling me, you know, the idea of you can learn from your own mistakes or you can learn from other people's mistakes. So I'm putting all my mistakes out there so you can avoid making them yourself. You get the benefit of me learning these skills and being unsuccessful at times and still sharing what I'm learning along the path. So this is looking good. I think I'm about done with that. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat down. I'll set that there. All right, got my rice ready. Yeah, my little caveat to her, you know, learn through your mistakes or somebody else's is generally when I learn from somebody else's mistakes, I'm probably going to repeat it a few times before it sinks in. But if I learn it from my own mistakes, it tends to stick pretty quick. Yeah, I'm the type of person that I will dwell on a mistake until it, you know, becomes one of those things I'm so aware of. I tend not to repeat it. Oh, this is looking good. Yeah, see, family might actually eat some of this if they see it. I'm very happy with that. I think I'm going to leave some of that soy sauce in the pan. I don't think I need all the soy sauce. All right. And let's do the foodie thing. Look at that. All the steam coming off of it. That looks amazing. Yeah, and in the description, when I did these recipes, I basically just told Google, I harvested these things. I'm going to do a cooking chat live stream. What should I make? And yeah, the description, that was going to be the side dish. That pretty much looks like the entree, and the greens and beans are the side dish. So yes, I am very happy with my results, and I'm going to probably end this live stream in just a moment and enjoy my supper. So thank you for everybody who shared in the chat here. Okay, missed the earlier part of the stream. What you cooking? All right, yeah, thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm not quite wrapping things up, but yeah, thank you. So basically what I did was I harvested from my garden today. I had some kale, I had some collard greens, I had some mustard greens, had some green beans, I had some lettuce, a few little strawberries and cherry tomatoes. It's still kind of early in the season, so a lot of stuff's growing, but nothing was really ready today. So I'm trying to do a garden to table kind of thing. So I'm gathering things every other Sunday, whatever I can get from my garden, coming inside and coming up with a recipe, something to cook with it. So far I've done kale chips, which turned out great. I'm a huge fan of kale chips now. I did like a Parmesan or what did I do? Garlic Parmesan, and those were delicious. I'm a huge fan of those now. So I have some extra kale there. That's probably what that's going to be. Last time I did kale smoothies. So I did 3 different recipes for kale smoothies. I did like a classic green, which was kind of like a banana and peanut butter, which is really good. I mean, it was definitely very green, but you tasted mostly the peanut butter and the banana in that one. I did like a strawberry and banana one. It was much lighter. It was more like a juice kind of smoothie. That one was really good. But my favorite, I think, well, I really like the banana and peanut butter. But my second favorite was I did a peach and rolled oats, and that was amazing. There was a lot of chewing involved with all the oats, but it was, I mean, that would be like the perfect breakfast kind of smoothie. It was really, really good. So yeah, having fun just learning how to cook things from my garden. That's the whole point of these cooking chats. How long have I been gardening? I started last year. Yeah, I'm very new to gardening. I've gone through the story earlier, but yeah, I'll go through it again since you're joining now. So yeah, last year, family was talking about moving to South Carolina. I'm living in Maryland now, and we're going to get some property, kind of homestead is the idea. And they were talking about, getting some goats and different things, and then we get the tax benefits of having, an agricultural part of our property. So I was wanting to make a career change. I've worked in cybersecurity my whole career. I was in the Air Force, done all that. And then, yeah, they're wanting to have that and take advantage of agricultural things. So now's my chance to be a farmer. And then last year had a couple of deaths in the family, and it really made me rethink, timing of things. So started looking into my retirement savings, talked to a financial advisor, and they were saying, looking pretty good. If you're going to be, moving from an expensive cost of living to agricultural rural, yeah, I think you are in a position that you can retire. You'll have to supplement it with something, for family income. But so that's the plan, is I'm going to retire at 55 in less than 900 days. So I have that long to learn how to become a farmer. So yeah, big difference from cybersecurity to farming. So the gardening is my first steps into that. I have a video that I put on the channel last Monday, actually. Put a lot of time and effort into that video. So yeah, go ahead and take a look at that while you're looking at my channel. If you like it, subscribe, all the YouTube things. But yeah, I shared out my first year of gardening from last year. It was starting with a few raised beds along the fence line. I added a garden fence, some grow bags, and some trellises and planters, and ended up getting like a potting table out there. We had an old pool box that I turned into a gardening box to keep all the gardening supplies, and just learning as much as I can. We've been going out to, agricultural things, different, festivals and fairs for different things. I've been going out to orchards and strawberry picking and just trying as many things as I can. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do because I want to do all of it at this point. I'm going to have to kind of narrow it down. But yeah, just enjoying this whole journey, and started a YouTube channel as part of a New Year's resolution to share out that whole skills development thing, the path to becoming a farmer in less than 3 years. The days are going by quick. I'm trying to make everyone count, but yeah, I'm already under 900 days to learn all these things. So if I'm growing all these things in my garden, these cooking chats are my chance to share me trying to learn how to cook the things I'm growing. Because it seems a shame to spend all that time and effort to grow these amazing things that are coming from my garden, bring them into my kitchen, and turn them into things that aren't so edible. So yeah, I'm trying to learn how to cook the things that I'm harvesting. So far, I'm very happy with the results. Yeah, if you're just joining, let me do the foodie thing and show you. This is what I made tonight. I basically had some collards, some kale, some mustard greens, some green beans, which I had to supplement. I didn't have all these green beans from my garden. So, you know, truth in advertising there. All the green beans didn't come from my garden, but yeah, all the greens did. So yeah, just making some fantastic meals. In that video from last year, you can see I shared all the different things I tried cooking last year. So a lot of pumpkin pies. The pumpkins did very well. Well, there's a lot of apples there because, like I mentioned, we went to an orchard and we picked apples, and we kind of overdid it. We had so many apples. So I was making apple pies and just anything else I could think of. I made apple butter, applesauce, and apple pancakes. So yeah, I think this year, once I have the pumpkins, there was a recipe my sister was wanting me to make it because we were planning to meet them while I had all these pumpkins. So she was wanting me to make some pumpkin cinnamon rolls, which sounds amazing, but I'm not that good of a cook yet. And the recipe seemed a little bit above my level. But I think this year I'm going to give it a try. I think by the time I've got pumpkins from my garden, I'm going to try making some pumpkin cinnamon rolls. And I now have a YouTube channel where I can share that experience with everybody. So, you know, that'll be on the channel at some point. The pumpkins are growing. They're just, it's going to be a while before I actually have any to harvest. Yeah, that's one of the things. Yeah, you're asking about the gardenings, and from your name, I'm assuming you've done a lot of gardening. If you've got that as your name on there, that seems like a big thing in your life. Joel Salatin. Oh yeah, Joel Salatin. I have been going to the library and reading so much, and I've got this really thick book that's all of the stuff about his sustainable farming. Yeah, he's definitely like the expert that everything points to. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos where people are using his material to create like AI videos. So I can kind of get an essence of it from those, but I've been going to the source, going to the library, spending a lot of time there researching everything. So yeah, I'm definitely getting into all those books. And that's part of it with wanting to do the rabbits, because right now it's gardening, but I don't really have the livestock side to kind of get the whole regenerative thing going. I have started vermiculture, so I do have worms. Yeah, I shared that earlier. Yeah, I know this is a cooking chat and this is really weird sharing, but this is some worm tea from my worms. I got some red wiggler worms. I got a Worm Factory 360. So I'm learning all about vermicomposting and vermiculture. So this is a jar that I put it in a Ninja blender earlier today, actually. And this is some cucumbers and apples, you know, just things that were going bad in the kitchen. Added in some coffee grounds, but because somebody was telling me in a previous cooking chat that the coffee kind of makes the worms reproduce, so you get a lot more babies after they've had the coffee. So yeah, I'm trying that. I added some of that, so we'll see if I end up with a lot more worms in my worm composting bin. So yeah, just having fun with all of it. I mean, it's kind of like being a kid again, you know, deciding what you want to be when you grow up. And so I've decided to be a farmer, and now I get to do all the fun stuff, learning how to be a farmer for real. I mean, back during the pandemic, my escape, you know, when we're all trapped in our homes, is I was playing Farming Simulator. So we got like a little bonus from work just to kind of help us, you know, get ready to be remote workers and all that. So I use that to buy a stand for a heavy machinery bundle for my PlayStation to do Farming Simulator. So I had the steering wheel, I had a little side panel where I could control all the lumber machinery and, you know, all the different farm equipment. So, you know, I'm living the virtual life during the pandemic being a farmer. So yeah, when family was talking about, you know, moving to a homestead kind of situation, I'm all in. I am ready to be a farmer. So it's a chance to turn those, video gaming things, which has always been kind of central to my life. I'm like gamer from life, back from the early, Atari 2600, Nintendo systems. Yeah, Commodore 64. Yeah, back in those days. So it's a chance to kind of take all those hobbies and just things I really enjoy in life and turn it into a path forward that I get to share with everybody, through my YouTube channel, through, the farming business, where I'll get to give family opportunities to do things. I mentioned my sister's, working in the catering stuff, and she really enjoys that. So I'm looking for us having a place that we can do catered events on our property. I can grow the food, and then, I've got a nephew who's like an amazing cook. So, I mean, he might be able to help with the cooking or coming up with the recipes to cook the things I produce in the fields. And then my sister would be able to do catering for it. Not, putting that pressure on them that they have to do it, but I'm finally in a position where the path I see for myself gives other people opportunities. And just the positive cycles I'm seeing in my life, and just, giving back to communities, times of struggle and strife, giving somebody some hot food, that means the world to them. So, I mean, there's those types of things that I don't know. It's a future that I see that I'm really going to enjoy. I just have to learn all the skills to get there. The Virtual Farmer could be a good YouTube channel name. Got a great story, subbed, and look forward to seeing more. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Well, actually, I mentioned, I don't know, I think you joined after I was talking about it, but my personal channel, where I've watched YouTube for the last 15 plus years, I've turned that, since I started this channel, I've turned my personal channel into a gaming channel. So one of the only videos I really had on there was I made a video of me playing Farming Simulator with that heavy machinery bundle, like driving around, showing out the field that I had produced. So yeah, that Ferrex Gaming, if you enjoy me rambling on in videos on YouTube, you might enjoy that. My daughter is home for the summer. She's going back for her sophomore year of college. She's going to Winthrop down in South Carolina. So she's kind of leading the way to South Carolina. She's so excited about being around family down there. She's not moving back up to Maryland, so we have to move to stay close to her. But yeah, that I've rebranded my personal channel as a gaming channel, Ferrex Gaming, and I've been doing Minecraft videos. She wanted to play some Minecraft a couple weeks ago, so we played for a couple days. She's kind of lost interest in it again, but that kind of got that bug with me to want to play some Minecraft. So I've probably got, I know I've got over 24 hours of live streaming and recordings of the Minecraft series already in the last 2 weeks. So it's kind of got me playing video games, but learning YouTube skills in the process. I'm trying to live stream those as much as I can. And the ones I'm not live streaming, I'm recording footage and doing the editing, learning like DaVinci Resolve. I've been using Riverside for the podcast with my sister. So there's a lot of the YouTube skills that you have to build. And there's so much to learn, and I'm still a noob on all of that. I get to use my video game terminology. I'm totally a noob on all of this. But yeah, I'm really impressed that people are sticking around for the conversation. The cooking's done. I mean, the cooking chat is now just a chat. Oh, and I lost one person when I said that. It's funny watching the numbers live. But great conversation. Yeah, where are you from, Pepper Gardner? Where are you at? I'm in the Maryland area looking to move to South Carolina. So yeah, it's always nice to see where people are from in these chats. Just that interaction. It's something that if I was doing all this anyway to learn these skills, if I didn't have the YouTube channel, which I didn't last year, that's why it was all pictures when I tried to make that first year of gardening video. But yeah, it's great seeing and interacting with people around the world while I'm doing this. Oh, very nice. Wisconsin. Cool. Beautiful country out there. I've traveled to most of the states with different trips, and, either growing up, we had some friends of the family that did a lot of, cross-country trips, and they would invite us along. And then being in the military and doing some other work, I've traveled to a lot of the states. I don't know if I've been to Wisconsin. But yeah, I finally made it to Hawaii. That was one of those that kept popping up on the radar, and the trip always fell through. I got to travel to Germany. I volunteered, went over to Saudi Arabia when I was in the Air Force. So I've been able to do some travel in my life, and I feel very fortunate to have those opportunities. I'm hoping maybe with the agriculture and the YouTube, maybe I get some opportunities to travel the world with those as well. You never know. Not doing this to be a huge YouTube channel. It's more just to share my experiences and hopefully make enough with this to pay for itself. You know, the subscriptions for different tools I'm using and different things like that. This gave me the push to go ahead and establish my Evergreen Growth Journey LLC, which is going to be my agricultural business. That's what I'm planning to do with all the gardening and the farming in the next few, well, in the less than 900 days. Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, I always appreciate that. I always feel like I don't deserve it when people do the thank you for your service, but yeah, I think it's making that decision to do it is what really matters to a lot of folks. And yeah, I was in the Air Force for 4 years, and then just crazy timing, I got out of active duty service in August, right before September 11th. So I immediately got caught up on orders for another year after that. After things kind of settled down there, then that's when I went ahead and separated from the Air Force and became a government contractor. So still working with the Department of Defense a good bit, and just kind of working in different areas of the government. So I've really had an amazing career. I really enjoyed all of it, but yeah, it's been one of those where, you know, I couldn't share all my stuff that I'm doing with family. And you know, like bring your kid to work day wasn't really an option, those types of things. But if I'm doing the farming and, you know, hopefully, you know, within the next decade, I'll have grandkids. I'll be a farmer at that point. They can come to work with me, and, you know, we can have fun out in the fields. You know, we can grow some plants. We can pick plants. We can just have fun out in nature, you know. And yeah, I just, it opens up a whole new world, making the choice to become a farmer and being able to share that experience on YouTube. It just, I don't know, it adds so much to it. I'm glad I made the choice in January to do this. I thought about it, and I talked about the Ferrex Gaming channel. My son, when he was probably 10 years old, YouTube was coming a big thing, and like, you know, everybody wanted to be a YouTube channel and start their own thing, and you know, everybody's going to watch your stuff. They're going to be famous overnight and that kind of thing. So I looked into it, and we actually recorded a couple videos. Actually, there's a couple of, there's one Minecraft video on my channel that's unlisted. It's a private video that I showed my son, and he's like, no, you can't show that to anybody ever. But I have it there in case he changes my mind. But yeah, that was one of those things. Is I looked at doing a YouTube channel, you know, over a decade ago. And, you know, where would I be now if I had actually made that commitment then, you know, 10 years on a YouTube channel? I mean, the skills I'm learning now, if I already had those skills in my pocket when I decided to be a farmer, I mean, I would already have a huge following, hopefully, by that point, you know? I would have connections that would make things easier. I would be able to take the things I'm doing and share that with other people in a way that's going to bring some positive into their lives. And I'm hoping I'm building that now. I really feel that that's what's happening. It's just sometimes it's hard to tell because YouTube doesn't always give you the feedback to know how you're doing. I mean, I can put, you know, 100 hours into producing a video and then nobody watches it. And I don't know that it's anything that I did wrong with it. It's just it didn't know what to do with that video. It didn't put it in the right, you know, put it in front of the right people that wanted to watch it, or you know, it just, my channel is kind of still all over the place because I'm figuring things out. I'm learning skills that aren't all focused in one niche. Yeah, I had to learn to say niche correctly. Yeah, niche or niche. How do you say it? But yeah, there's all kind of YouTube terminology I've had to learn too, like SEO, optimization, and all those types of things. But through it all, I think I'm pretty comfortable on camera, you know. I don't mind talking with anybody. At one of the previous jobs, one of the people that used to run these like quarterly events where they needed an MC, he was in that position. He moved on, and they were like, oh, we need somebody to be the MC. And it's like, I'll do it. So yeah, I became the MC for these events, and I really miss that. And my wife will tell you I'm an introvert. You know, I've worked with computers my whole career. I'm a video game player. I mean, fun for me can be, you know, sitting in a room with a, you know, controller in my hand for 2 days straight and not talk to another person. Or it can be, you know, potentially talking with the world in a live stream. So I'm definitely in the extrovert column. I have the introverted tendencies of somebody that works in cybersecurity and plays video games, but definitely in the extrovert category. I think there's actually a better term for that. I think my daughter was telling me I'm actually an omnivert. It's I feel comfortable in both, but I don't feel trapped in either. And so, yeah, that feels more like me. It's, you know, I'm comfortable in my skin for the most part, whether I'm talking to one person or 1,000 people. So I think that'll be a benefit to doing the YouTube channel. Haven't got to the point where there's 1,000 people watching, but yeah, there's that little nervousness that, yeah, maybe someday there will be. And am I going to be worth watching when there's that many people that, you know, YouTube algorithm puts my content in front of those people? You know, am I going to deserve that? So there's a lot of that, you know, even if I do become successful, you know, is it that thing where I really deserve it? Or, you know, is imposter syndrome going to kick in and I feel like this is just random chance and I didn't really do the things to get to this point? So I think that's the reason why I really focused on the evergreen part of the evergreen growth journey. Is I don't want to be a viral success, because what do I do with that? It's like winning the lottery and then you waste it because you didn't build the foundation to be able to take benefit of that without having all the negatives of it. So yeah, slow growth is fine with me. I talked a lot in some of my earlier ones of doubling every month. So actually my goal was to be at 200 subscribers by the end of June, because I hit 100 subscribers before the end of May. So, you know, early stages, doubling every month kind of works. You know, it's a big goal, but, you know, if I'm learning skills, if my content's getting better, if I'm trying to kind of narrow in my niche a little bit, I'm slowly building an audience. And I think a lot of people, when they look at YouTube videos, if they see, you know, there's only, you know, that guy's only got 10 subscribers and only 5 people watched it, I'm going to watch the next thing. I mean, it's not going to be worth watching. But I think, you know, now that I'm at 150 subscribers, 150 plus of people have subscribed during this, somebody might give it a second chance. You know, I think my thumbnails have gotten better. You know, my presentation, my ability to read a chat and not completely forget that I'm in a chat talking with people. So yeah, I think I'm getting better. I'm definitely not good, and I've got a long way to go. But yeah, this is amazing. I actually have people hanging out with me and just chatting in the kitchen. I've completely forgotten. The whole point of this was my cooking chat. So if you're new to this live stream, this was the results of my harvesting from my garden, going on to Google, finding some recipes, and cooking it up. So I've got collards, kale, mustard greens, green beans, all from my garden that went into this meal. And I just shared me learning how to cook it with everybody. So that's the point of these. This will be happening every other Sunday. That's kind of my plan. I've got it on my little calendar to plan these out. So just whatever I can harvest in 2 weeks, I'll have another cooking chat and I'll share the things that I can make with it. Hopefully I have something good. I have a lot growing. Yeah, if you look at the other content on my channel, especially I did a practice live stream that went out on Friday that was kind of a tour of my current garden this year. And the video that I put out on Monday was my garden experience, with that being basically an empty backyard to where it was at the end of the first year of gardening. And then, you know, starting a YouTube channel in January, there was snow on the ground, so I couldn't really do any evergreen growth. So yeah, there was a lot of trying to figure out how to do gardening related content during the middle of winter. Yeah, I think the second week that I started my channel, we had like a 2-foot blizzard. And so, yeah, try to do gardening content when that's your outdoor situation. Didn't quite fit, but that was the goal for the channel. I feel like I'm just rambling at this point. I'm probably going to end this one in just a little bit, and then I think I'm going to do another Minecraft recording. I did like this. I messed up. Like I said, I'm learning all the YouTube stuff. So my gaming channel, I didn't realize that there was an age verification now when you broadcast. It's a new thing, I guess, in the last couple months. But I didn't get a notification. I wasn't aware of it. But I tried to broadcast. I was going to share this world that I built in Minecraft like 3 years ago, the last time I had played Minecraft. And since I hadn't done the age verification, it assumed that I was under 16 since it didn't know that I was 52. So it gave me an age restriction, policy violation, restricted from live streaming, but it didn't give me the details. So I don't know when I get to live stream again. So for the last week, I've been just recording and putting those out there. So I don't think I can live stream yet, and I don't know when that will end. But yeah, I'll do a recording and I'll schedule that one out. I think I've already got recordings where things are scheduled out. The one tonight will probably go out on Tuesday. So if you like Minecraft, check that out. Or if you want to see my my old farming simulator video, my first actual broadcast of farming related content years ago, that's on my other channel. So yeah, thank you for everybody who watched tonight. I really appreciate it. This has been amazing. I don't want to drag this out too much longer. We're almost at an hour and a half, and I've still got my supper to eat. So yeah, while this is still warm, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that. The conversation's been amazing. Please come back for more. Don't know what I'm going to be making in 2 weeks, but I know I got a lot growing, and I think I'll have some good options for next time. All right, well, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.